Chosen ones, the walls of your solitude are finally beginning to crack. This change isn't like anything you felt before. It's like a heavy door in your heart is finally swinging open. Deep down, you feel a strong energy starting to hum, similar to a physical vibration you can't ignore. This feeling has been growing quietly in the dark for years, and if you don't pay attention now, you might miss the exact moment your old life changes forever. You have to be ready, because you can't stay hidden in the shadows anymore. There was a period of containment that demanded your endurance, a stillness that challenged your resolve, and a stretch of time where connection felt like a ghost you couldn't quite grasp. However, even during those cold hours and blurred moments, the architect of your soul was never absent from your journey. He was forging a new strength, a grounded foundation, a version of you that refuses to crumble when the storms arrive. What is manifesting in this hour carries a weight of quiet momentum, and you must remain alert and receptive because this is the precise coordinate where your old reality dissolves. Type 777 if you trust Jesus. For a long time you've been tucked away like a caterpillar in a tight, quiet cocoon. You were kept away from friends and parties not because you were in trouble, but because you needed to stay in the dark to let your inner light get super bright, like a flashlight charging up to 100%. It felt like you were stuck in a waiting room that never ended, but that quarantine was a secret training camp. It was there to make your spirit as tough as a suit of iron armor. If you had met your person before now, you might have broken under the pressure. But because you survived the lonely shadows, you're finally strong enough for the wild, amazing thing that is about to crash into your life when you least expect it. Many have looked at your life and seen only the void, but they failed to see the sophisticated craftsmanship happening beneath the surface of your silence. It is a spiritual law that nature abhors a vacuum, but the divine requires one. To understand why your season of singleness is ending, you must first understand why it was mandated in the first place. For the chosen one, singleness is never empty time. It is strategic vacancy. You have been living in a space that was hollowed out by design. Every friend who drifted away, every relationship that withered despite your best efforts, and every night where the silence felt heavy was a deliberate act of clearing the land. You cannot build a cathedral on the foundation of a shack. If God had allowed you to stay connected to the people of your past, their limited expectations would have acted as a ceiling to your growth. You would have settled for a good life and missed the glory life. This section of your journey was about tearing down the idols of external validation. You had to reach a point where your spirit became so loud that the opinions of others became whispers. As a chosen one, your frequency is distinct. When you are out of alignment, your life feels like static. But notice what has happened lately. The static is fading. There is a hum in your spirit. This is the sound of internal integration. You are no longer divided against yourself. You have stopped apologizing for your depth. You have stopped shrinking your intellect and your passion to make others feel comfortable. This is the loudness we spoke of. It is the sound of a soul that has taken up its full residence. When you occupy 100% of your own spiritual space, the atmosphere must respond. The season of one ends because you have maximized the lessons of the solo journey. You have passed the test of the wilderness where you learned that your bread comes from the Word, not from the approval of a partner. To ground this further in the Word, we look at the transition of Ruth. Her season of singleness was defined by loss and labor. She wasn't sitting in a tower waiting to be rescued, she was working in the dirt. But notice the shift. She didn't find Boaz by looking for him. She found him by being fully committed to her assignment. One of the prophetic markers you are experiencing right now is a sudden change in your assignment. You might feel a pull to a new city, a new ministry, or a new career path. This is the field of Boaz. God is moving your coordinates. Just as Ruth had to leave Moab to find her destiny in Bethlehem, your spirit is currently being uprooted from familiar soil. If you feel a sudden, holy restlessness with your current environment, do not mistake it for anxiety. It is prophetic displacement. The environment that sustained you in your singleness can no longer feed the giant you have become. You are being moved to the field where your kinsman redeemer is already standing. Many people want the union, but few want the refiner's fire that makes the union last. Why does the chosen one have to wait longer than the world? Because the world settles for contractual relationships, but you are being prepared for a covenant relationship. Contracts are based on, what can I get? Covenants are based on, what can we become? The reason your spirit has become so loud is that it has been purified. The fire of isolation burned away the neediness, the codependency, and the trauma-bonding tendencies. You are no longer looking for someone to complete you. That is a worldly lie. You are looking for someone to collaborate with you in the kingdom. Have you noticed that you no longer feel lonely in the way you used to? There is a difference between being alone and being lonely. You have reached a state of holy solitude. You enjoy your own company. You are your own best friend. Ironically, this is the exact moment the season ends. God does not bring the other to fill a hole. He brings the other to multiply a harvest. When you are a whole, zero, you bring nothing. When you are a whole, one, and God brings another whole one, you don't just become two. In the Spirit, you become 11. Your power is multiplied exponentially. Let us go deeper into the 3 signs mentioned earlier, expanding them so you can recognize them in your daily walk. The first indicator is a peculiar, restless energy that has begun to invade your most peaceful moments. You might find that the very routines that used to bring you solace now feel like a tight suit you are ready to burst out of. This friction is your spirit signaling that your current vessel is full, and it is time to expand into a partnership that can handle your new volume. Think of Joseph, whose feet were hurt with fetters and whose neck was put in an iron collar until the moment his word came to pass. Your singleness has been that iron collar, not to bind you, but to temper you into a leader capable of sustaining a kingdom-level connection. You have been in the pit of preparation, and like Joseph, the very atmosphere of your confinement is now being agitated because the throne of your union is ready. The second sign is a sudden, sovereign disruption of your independent rhythm. Just as the cupbearer suddenly remembered Joseph after years of silence, you will notice people from your past or strategic new voices beginning to stir the waters of your life. This isn't a distraction. It is the summons of the King. You are being called out of your private sanctuary because your character has reached the level of maturity required to pour into another without losing yourself. The final sign is the most profound. A holy vulnerability. For a long time, you wore your independence like armor, proud of the fact that you needed no one. But recently, that armor has become heavy and restrictive. God is peeling back the layers of your self-reliance to reveal a heart that is finally soft enough to be touched, yet strong enough to be trusted. The loudness of your spirit is actually the sound of your heart beating for its missing half, signaling to the heavens that the work of the inner room is finished. The season of being hidden is over. You are now being revealed. The reason this transition feels so intense is that you are moving from a state of static preparation to kinetic alignment. In the kingdom, things do not happen by chance. They happen by weight. Your spirit has become heavy with the glory of the lessons you learned in the dark. This spiritual mass is now creating a gravitational pull that is drawing your promise toward you at an accelerated rate. You are no longer chasing. You are attracting. For years, you were frustrated because you met people who could only see your surface. They couldn't hear the loudness of your spirit because they weren't tuned to your frequency. But as your season of singleness cracks, The architect is preparing a sovereign collision. This is not a meet cute from a movie. It is a mathematical necessity of the Spirit. God is currently working on the other with the same intensity He has worked on you. While you were being tempered in the fire of isolation, they were being refined in their own furnace. The signs you are seeing are the sparks from two flames finally coming into proximity. You are feeling the heat of their approaching spirit before you see their face. This is why your peace has been replaced by a gentle urgency. It is the soul's recognition that the vacuum you've maintained so faithfully is about to be occupied by someone of equal spiritual weight. Do not be surprised if in this final hour the shadows try to speak one last time. Whenever a chosen one is about to step out of the inner room and into the revealing, the atmosphere becomes contested. This is the threshold of resistance. It is the final test of your character before the covenant begins. As you stand at the edge of your new reality, the enemy will often send a ghost of your past, a counterfeit of the promise, someone who looks like what you used to want, but lacks the substance of what you now need. This is a test of your spiritual hearing. If your spirit is truly loud, it will drown out these echoes of the old season. You must have the discernment to realize that a counterfeit is only sent because the original is within reach. If you feel a sudden surge of old temptations or the reappearance of people who once drained your energy, do not be discouraged. See it as a landmark. In the desert, the wind blows hardest right before the oasis. These distractions are not meant to stop you. They are meant to prove that you are no longer the person who would settle for them. You have outgrown the cage, and the bars are melting. In the Scriptures, the most significant unions, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Rachel, Moses and Zipporah, all began at a well. The well was the biblical archetype for the intersection of daily diligence and divine appointment. Notice that Rebekah wasn't at the well looking for a husband. She was at the well to serve. She had a full pitcher, symbolizing a life that was already overflowing with purpose and work. Your loud spirit is your full pitcher. Your season of singleness is ending because you have reached the capacity to give drink to another's vision without emptying your own soul. God is bringing you to your well moment. This is a place in your life where your routine meets a miracle. You will be doing what you were called to do, praying, working, creating, serving, and in the middle of that ordinary act, the extraordinary will walk into view. This is why it is vital to stay present. If you are living in the future, wishing the time away, you might miss the stranger standing by the water. As the season ends, your language will begin to change. You will find that you can no longer say yes to things that diminish your light. The loudness of your spirit acts as a natural filter. This is the anatomy of the holy yes. For years, you may have been a people-pleaser, or perhaps you were so guarded that you said no to everything out of fear. But now, the architect has balanced you. You have a yes for God that is louder than your no to the world. This internal alignment is the final prerequisite for the union. God will not bring a partner into your life who will compete with His voice. He brings a partner who will harmonize with it. The 777 inches you typed is not just a number, it is a seal of completion. In the Hebrew tradition, 7 represents the Sabbath, the rest after the work is finished. Your work in the season of singleness is concluding. The foundation is poured, the walls are up, the roof is sealed. Now, the master is simply waiting for the paint to dry before he opens the doors and invites the guests. The resonance you are feeling is not a delusion. It is the sound of a closing door and an opening gate. You have passed through the narrow corridor of the hidden years, and the air around you is changing because you are no longer being asked to endure. You are being asked to occupy. The architect has finished the internal renovation. The silence that once felt like a prison has been revealed as a sanctuary, and the isolation you once mourned has become your greatest weapon. You are stepping into a union that is not a rescue mission from your loneliness, but a royal commissioning for your purpose. You are not two halves finally becoming a whole. You are two fires coming together to create a blaze that the darkness cannot extinguish. As you close this chapter, do not look back at the years of singleness with regret. Those years were the hidden roots that will now sustain the visible fruit. Every tear shed in the quiet was a seed planted in a field you are about to harvest. The loudness of your spirit is now the signal fire for the one who has been searching for you in the fog. Stand tall in your new frequency. Do not shrink back into the shadows of self-doubt. The version of you that was comfortable with being less than has passed away, and the one who is ready for more has taken the throne. The crack in the wall is now a wide-open door. This is your moment of transition. The weight of the momentum is behind you, and the hand of the Father is before you. You have been refined in the fire, proven in the pit, and now you are being positioned for the palace. The season of only you is dissolving into the season of greater together. If you can hear the sound of the chains falling, if you can feel the warmth of the sun on a path you haven't walked before, and if you know, deep in the marrow of your bones, that your time of waiting has fulfilled its divine purpose, then take a deep breath. The silence is over. Your voice is back, your life is loud, and the promise is at the door. Type Amen if you receive this word. Share this with one person who has been in the wilderness for too long. Your season of being hidden is over. You are now being revealed. God bless you.